love, what's up? Welcome to Confidently Uncomfortable. I'm your host, Jago, health and lifestyle coach, and not so regal confidence queen. Coming at you with the real, the raw, and of course, the uncomfortable. My mission is to show you that to be confident, it has absolutely nothing to do with being perfect or having it all together, and everything to do with you getting uncomfortable and pushing your limits. Thanks for joining me. Let's dive in. Welcome back to part 2 of my 3-part special episode series called Start 2022 for You. You still have access to download the actual free challenge course itself if you want to download the free workbook and actually see the video content behind this episode. Please go ahead and do that. If you are on the go in your commute or on a walk and you want to listen to the episode this way, there's still a lot of value that you're going to get out of this. Part 2 of this series, we are going to be talking about carving out the space for abundance. I remember whenever I was trying to start goals, I was always trying to add more things into my life. And I started to realize that it wasn't that I needed to add things, it was that I needed to first create space for new change to come into my life. And so I needed to learn how to carve out that space for abundance. And so we're going to talk about in this episode about auditing different aspects of our lives, your environment, whether that means your relationships, your actual physical environment, as well as the environment mentally going on inside of your head. So there's a lot to unpack here, but you're going to get a whole lot out of this. Even if you're listening to this and you don't dive into the actual worksheet, there are some practices that you can start doing today. So I'm looking forward to your feedback on this episode as you carve out space for abundance in 2022. Let's dive in. Welcome back to day 2 of the Start 2022 for You 3-day Clear Vision Challenge. So yesterday we talked a lot about our values, identifying those values, but I also hinted on just being more aware of the words we use when we're speaking about ourselves, when we're speaking about our circumstances. And I'm not sure, but 1 or 2 words started to stick out when you were writing your goals down, or maybe when you were just having conversation with your coworkers, with your friends, with your family, or with yourself. If any of those words that were maybe negative self-talk were coming out, these are very important to identify, and we're going to actually be using those to help in this next challenge for the day. So what are we doing today? What is our focus? Let's get started. Day 2, we're going to be going all into creating space for abundance, carving out space for abundance. We will be identifying your obstacles, things that come up. I like to call them with this metaphor, like our pollutants, as well as our environment. So is there any toxicity in our life, whether that is people, places, things, food, consumption? We're going to go through everything. We're going to really audit your environment, your current habits. There's a lot to cover here, and you might notice that with each of these, it's because this is stuff I teach on in my program, Body Confident Blueprint. So it's very difficult to get it all into 3 days, but I'm doing as much as I can so that you can feel like you're getting a really good start with the new year. So let's go ahead and get started. So firstly, I wanted to slow down and take a second to explain to you why identifying your limiting beliefs and creating space for abundance matters. I talked about on day 1 about the importance of knowing your why when it comes to your goals. This goes with everything, y'all. I want you to start asking more questions. I want you to ask why you're doing what you're doing. I want you to ask, why is this important? How does this apply to my life? Because so often we get caught in, moving like we're robots, where we're just going day to day, we're doing all the things, we're checking off the tasks, but we never slow down to ask why we're doing it or if it fulfills us. Obviously, there are certain things in life you're going to do, we just got to do, right? But I do think there is a lot of value to slowing down and being aware first of, is there a why behind it? Because maybe there is a why behind, cleaning up your space. There is, I'll go there. But if you don't love it, you might think, oh, this doesn't align with me because I hate cleaning and I just don't like it. And I always get really stressed when I try and clean my space. And if that's you in any way, I want to tell you that you got to think, well, why, why would having a clean space help me? How would that help clear my head? Because so often our environment is an outward reflection of what's going on inside. I know whenever I'm feeling a little bit chaotic and crazy, my space can start to get a little chaotic and crazy. Everyone is different, and I don't expect you to have everything together and everything organized, but knowing what feels good for you, what feels clean to you, what feels organized to you, and how we can get to that level, especially when we are stepping into this new year, stepping into your clear vision. Okay. You are going to feel really foggy headed if you have so much clutter in your space, so much clutter in your mind. We're going to start with just our external environment. Let's just speak about our space at home. If you're sitting here watching this right now or listening to it and you're in your space and you look around and there's just stuff everywhere, there's clutter, there's post-it notes, there's a messy kitchen, dishes, all of that. Our ability to actually think about our vision for the future feels almost unimportant because there's so many other things going on in our head. There's all these little to-dos and tasks we have to do. We're feeling really, cluttered with our space, and it makes it really hard for our mind to actually expand beyond just the day-to-day. Right? If you ever feel like you're almost treading water, I want to teach you how to actually move along the stream, to actually carve the space out for abundance so that you have a clear path and you're weaving through the obstacles and they're not holding you back because you were able to identify them. So your environment is a good number one, because if you don't have the environment that's supporting your goals, it's going to make goals really difficult for you. So if your goal is to start moving your body more, to start working out more, really think about, okay, is my environment supporting this? Do I have access to a gym? Do I have some things at home to do? Do I have a designated space for working out? Do I have a routine space for me to walk? Like, think about just your actual environment itself. If you're wanting to start a side hustle or start a business, are you able to get some of your day-to-day chores done in an organized manner so you're not feeling bogged down throughout your day? There's just so many different things to identify with our environment. Even our actual kitchen can be something that can be a big deal. A lot of my clients, maybe you're listening to this and you want to get healthier this year. Remember, that's a general goal. So ideally, you listen to day one and you created a lot more of a specific goal and clear vision of what that looks like to you. What does healthy look like to you? Instead of just saying, I want to get healthier. So go back to day one if you haven't, but follow me here with day two if you have. If you're saying you want to be healthier, well, is my environment supporting that? Am I finding that I'm, eating out 6 days a week? Am I realizing that I'm not really cooking for myself? Am I getting stressed and eating really late at night? Am I, using that as a way of dealing with my emotions? I've been there, y'all. Or am I, creating an environment where I have a stocked kitchen, where I've planned out my meals, where when I open up my fridge, instead of feeling like, there's nothing in there, you've organized it, you've cleaned it. Maybe one of my biggest things I tell my clients is that you go ahead and when you come back from the grocery store, you chop and clean and cut up all of your fruits and vegetables. And when you open the fridge, they're at eye level. I'll show you all my fridge, but literally I've shifted everything to where my lettuce does not hang out on the bottom shelf, the bottom drawer, because I will not use it. It's at eye level. It's already ready to go. And I know, hey, I'm going to eat that first. And that's something that can be really helpful for you when you are trying to create some different habit changes, some long-term goals. If your environment is supporting that, it's going to be a huge, huge game changer in you actually succeeding those goals. If you're saying you want to get better sleep, maybe you shouldn't have your TV in your bedroom. Maybe you shouldn't have your phone in your bedroom. Maybe you should be more aware of your environment and try and break that down and go to sleep earlier. What can I do? How can I create an environment that helps me feel relaxed and feel, ready to wind down for the day? So your environment directly impacts your goals and your ability to actually succeed those goals. A lot of people will create these goals in their minds and then they don't think about the actual like how you're actually going to implement these goals into your day-to-day life. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to think a step further. What am I going to do to start these habits that are going to support my ultimate big goals? Your environment is a big thing for you, and I'll have you do that. Now that's your physical environment. What about the what about the pollutants and toxic thoughts in your head? We talked a little bit about our inner mean girl thoughts and how sometimes we say things that aren't super nice to ourselves. The first step with that is to be aware of those things that are coming up in your head. They never go away. They can shift and they can get smaller, and you can keep from empowering them. What do I mean by that? Sometimes when we have gone our whole lives dealing with these negative self-talks, this narrative of I'm not good enough, or I can't do this, or it's not possible for me, or just any of whatever those words are that kind of start to beat yourself up. For a long time, maybe they have been in the driver's seat of your life. Maybe they have been the thing that have been directing your steps, that have been holding you back, that have been the obstacles that I've talked about getting in the way of you actually reaching your goals. My first step is to get them out of the driver's seat, passenger seat. Passenger seat, they might be a little bit annoying. They might try and tell you what to do, but you're still ultimately in control. And eventually, I would love to get those inner mean girl thoughts in the back seat, and you can end up getting that little like median thing, like when you're in a limo, where you just roll that window up and you're quieting those inner mean girl thoughts because you have recognized your full power and that you are fully capable, and that narrative that you've been telling yourself so long is not true. The truth is you already have what it takes within you now to create your ideal 2022. You have it literally sitting here right now, listening to me. You have what it takes. But what happens is these obstacles, these limiting beliefs, they are what get in the way of your success. Okay. So being aware of them is a first step. Like I said on day one, to focus on what am I saying? What are those words that are coming up? Stop them dead in their tracks. Create a space for abundance. So really, what are some things that I can have in my environment that are going to help me? Now, it doesn't just have to do with stuff. Think about the environment of like what you're actually filling up your time with. You're going to have homework today where you're going to audit your day, and you're going to write down everything you do from the morning until you go to bed. Literally every single thing. I do audits every single season. I do them every 3 months. So have you done this before? Awesome. Good on you. You're going to do it again. If you haven't, it can seem a little bit tedious, but I promise you there's a purpose to the madness. You're writing everything down so you can be more aware of what are you doing with your time. I hate the phrase, everyone has the same 24 hours in a day, because honestly, that ain't true. I don't have kids, so I am quite aware that my morning routine is going to look a lot different than my clients that are moms, my clients that have to go to work in at like 5 a.m., my clients that are night nurses. All of them have a different, view of what they can create. However, I'm not focused about what other people are doing. I want you to identify, what do you do day to day, hour to hour, and how can you shift that in a way that's going to support what you want to create out of your life? What habits do you want to stop doing and shift to doing something else? What habits do you want to start implementing? Looking for space in areas of maybe where you can habit swap and switch to something that's a little bit more supportive of what your end goal is. That's why the audit's going to be really powerful for you. Be thinking about what are some things that maybe in the past have gotten in the way of me reaching my goals. Was it some thoughts that have come up? Was it like my time? Was it that I got overwhelmed? Was it my feelings of being a perfectionist? Was it that I'm a people pleaser, so I'm always putting my own needs on the back burner? All of those things, I don't want you to feel shame or guilt for them, but I do want you to be aware of them, because that is the first step in actually taking action and shifting towards doing what's best for you this year. Start 2022 for you. It's not selfish. It is going to make you show up that much stronger in every other relationship you have. Okay. So recognizing these obstacles is the first step in creating the growth that you're seeking. We're going to have you audit your environment. So I want you to actually audit your physical environment, choosing 1 to 2 areas to focus. So you could do, like I was saying before, with like your kitchen, your fridge, your cabinets. You could do a before and after, where you take a photo of the fridge or the cabinets, and then you organize things that feel good for you. You get rid of things. I call it condoing your kitchen, like Marie Kondo. Don't sue me, Marie Kondo. And creating it in a way that actually supports what your goals are. So if there are certain foods in there that just aren't serving you right now, you can get rid of them. If you haven't eaten them a long time, get rid of them. If you're holding on to them just out of fear of like, oh my gosh, this might be the last time I can have this, donate that food. Okay. If you haven't had it in a while, go away. So auditing a space like that. You could also do your closet. Maybe you have been holding on to some clothes in your closet that aren't serving you, but you've been holding them onto, but really they're weighing you down. They're making you feel bad about yourself. And we don't want that going into 2022. We don't want that energy. So instead, go into that closet, and anything that doesn't bring you joy, release it. Okay. Something better can come to you. A lot of times I'll take this metaphor. Let's go. A lot of times we hold on to things because we're afraid of losing them. But if we would actually let go of those things we're holding on to, we would create space for all that's meant for us. Every single thing. I had to learn that the hard way. I had a lot of loss the past couple years. But it's such a beautiful thing, because it has created so much space for what really matters in my life. So maybe you've been holding on to some things that don't actually matter to you once you've looked through your values. And now is the time to create that space, to carve that space out, to create the path that's going to get you to the end goal, to the vision, to what you know that you're capable of. Okay. So that goes with the whole carving out space for abundance, because you have created this mountain with your values. You are so grounded in those values. Then you're going to shift and create and carve out space as you create the path and the streams going into the ultimate goal that you want to achieve. Now, auditing your day, it can be really easy to skip over this process. It can be really easy to just be like, I'll do it after. But we often don't realize how much time we're spending doing certain things that are a bit of a time suck. So being on our phones, if you're not actively writing down this in your audit, you might think, oh yeah, I might have checked my phone, or you might not even write that down in your audit. So I really want you to be writing down every single time you pick up your phone. How long are you on your phone? Every single, like your commute. Anytime you're scrolling on social media, anytime you're, having to do things for others, anytime you're starting a project at work and then you're having to shift and do something else for someone else. All of these things are really important to write down with your audit. Another thing is to be aware of when you're auditing your environment, part of our environment is what are we consuming? So if you've done this before, come back into it and think, okay, what am I consuming that is not serving me? A lot of times we're consuming things that make us feel less than. Like we are scrolling on social media and certain profiles come up and they make us feel bad about our bodies, or they make us feel bad about our families, or how much money we do or don't have, or whatever it is. It's nothing against that profile or that person, but it's not helping us because we're over consuming what other people are offering and we're not pouring into ourselves. And I find that if I am feeling, disconnected from myself, it's probably because I have been consuming so many other things outside of myself, and I need to let that go, take a little break and come back into myself and figure out, okay, what makes me feel most aligned, most like me? Going back to your values can really help for that. For me, remember, adventure was on there for mine. Maybe I need to plan something fun. Adventure doesn't have to be some crazy trip out of the country. It could just be, trying a new restaurant or exploring a new place in my city, or, whatever it is. It could be something different. So by doing that, I'm able to start pouring into myself and what I value and really break up with, that comparison. So if you get caught up in comparison ever, if you at the end of the year, you're watching people's like end of year wrap up or their vacation or their family stuff they were going on, and it was making you feel less than, let me tell you, you are enough. You are on your own path and your own timeline, and you don't need to compare yourself to what anyone else is doing. There's a reason you're here right now watching this. Right now. There's a reason I'm recording this at the time that I am with everything going on in my life. And it's brought us together in such an amazing way to where I want you to really go all in with this audit. I want you to do it in a way to where you know that ultimately it's going to help you in the long run. So be honest, write down everything, and get excited because it's a big eye opener. So, an audit is going to be one part of this challenge, but another aspect of this is going to be rewriting those limiting beliefs that are coming up for you. So, if you are saying that I can't do this, or I'm not, strong enough, I'm too this, I'm not enough that, whatever it is that narrative of that inner mean girl that's coming up for you, I want you to write those things down. And I want you to remind yourself that it does not define you, and it's not necessarily even a truth. Those thoughts that are coming in your head. Usually they're things that are trying to hold you back and keep you small. And you deserve to take up space. You deserve to live large and really step into everything you were created to be. So, rewriting those limiting beliefs, you're going to take those thoughts and narratives and start to question them and be like, is that really true? Most likely when you start to question them, you'll recognize that's not necessarily true. Maybe it was something that was a truth long ago. Maybe as you've grown, you've changed and you've shifted and you're no longer that narrative, whatever it is. I don't want to put those words in your mouth, so I won't even say them. So even if you're like, but it was true, we are constantly evolving and changing and growing. Okay. We are not meant to be the same that we were yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And that's the beautiful thing about being human. So why do you hold yourself to the standard that you have to be exactly who you were yesterday? Instead, shift your mindset and think, I can be anything I want to be today. Okay. And that's what's going to help shift you from feeling stuck in your environment to feeling free every single day to step into exactly what you were created to do. Okay. So I told you the why behind carving out space for abundance. If you do not create a space that is going to support the life that you want, the vision that you have for your life, that you know within you you're capable of, if your environment does not support that, it's going to be a hell of a lot harder to get there. So instead of holding yourself back and making it that much harder for you to get there, let's carve out that space now. Let's create space. Let's release some of the things that we've been holding on to, whether it's narratives, whether it's toxic thoughts, whether it's toxic people or toxic environments. We're going to shed that in order to step into that abundance. Okay. I want you to get excited about what you want out of 2022. I want you to have goals that are big and scary and fun and light you up. I don't want you to just think that you have to have certain goals because that's what everyone else has, or that you have to have the same goals that you had last year just because you didn't reach them. No, you get to choose. You get to choose, and it starts now. So I want you to think about, what am I going to do today to create a space that's going to step into my most confident self for 2022? What does that look like? Maybe you need to take a visualization aspect of this and really think about it. When I think about my space, it is clean, it's organized, there's good lighting. Like, what is that for you? Also think about, what are you wearing? How are you acting? Like, if you look at and audit your day, compare that to what you want and ask yourself, are the habits that I currently have supporting what I want to bring into my life? And if there's a disconnect there, that's a big sign that it's time to start creating some change and shifting some things in your life. And before your inner mean girl tells you, but you don't understand, Jago, I have this going on, or I actually don't have control of this, or you don't know what it's like for this. You're right. I don't know. I've never been in your shoes, but you always ultimately have control. Yes, everyone grew up differently. Everyone was brought into a different home, but you still have a choice. You still have the ability to bring in what you want to bring into this life. I promise you do. Even when it feels like the world's against you, you still have the ability to step into exactly what you want to create. But you got to start. Don't hold yourself back. Don't keep living in these environments that aren't supporting you. This is probably the scariest step in day 2, because Yes, I give you the challenge of cleaning your space. But what about relationships? Are there any relationships that are not serving you, that are not serving each other, that are holding you back, that maybe are holding that old narrative of who you were, and it's keeping you from stepping into who you know you're meant to become? It happens a lot. Maybe there are some boundaries you need to create. Maybe there are some relationships you need to redirect into a different level. It doesn't have to be that everyday friendship. Maybe it just needs to be more of an acquaintance or a past friend. That part's scary because there's an unknown. Well, I'm comfortable here in this environment. I know what it feels like to fail. I know what it feels like to, not be able to wake up in the morning and work out. I know what it feels like to not meal prep. I know what it feels like to, for people to think I'm just the funny one, or I'm just this, or I'm just that. That narrative we've been sitting in for so long that we think it's safe. We think it's comfortable, and we think it's what maybe is what we should just stick with because it's the safe bet. But my Nana taught me, and other loss that I've had has taught me, nothing in this world is certain. Nothing in this world is safe. So instead of trying to stay with your safe bet of what is actually a toxic environment for you, take a chance and step into the unknown, because that step you take might be exactly what you needed, And if it's not, guess what? You get to take another step. Having an awareness of these obstacles that come up is going to help you in the long run. The more you keep redirecting towards what you want, the stronger those muscles get. Think about it like that stream we're creating, right? The more that you are identifying the obstacles along the way, you're going to be able to shift. It doesn't mean it's going to look like smooth sailing, but you're going to understand how to meander around those obstacles, how to shift through things and not get caught in a dam or whatever. You're going to be able to really keep flowing into 2022, regardless of things that come up, because you're able to tap into what you do have control of and let go of the things that you don't. That's going to be a huge shift. It was a huge shift in my own life. And it's why I want to start teaching you that now. I go into that more in depth with my one-on-one clients, with my BCB clients, but I want you guys to start thinking about those things now. You're going to have your challenge with auditing your day, auditing your environment, and I'm excited for you to do that. Please share that as well. I don't want these limiting beliefs and these obstacles to come up and for you to feel guilty about them. There's no benefit to feeling guilty about your negative thoughts or to feel guilty about maybe the obstacles that come up for you. They don't define you, so you don't need to feel bad about them. Just be aware and recognize that, like, hey, I can shift this anytime I want. I just need to take the first step. And the first step is awareness of it all. So you're doing good so far. I want you to not feel held back by these narratives that you've been told or you've told yourself for decades. And I want you to dream big this year. 2022 is going to be a big year. A lot of stuff has shifted. And what we're going to do going into day 3 is going to be really about creating that big vision, the big dreams for your life, but reverse engineering that into valuing the small wins, valuing the small day-to-day things that you do that are supporting your ultimate goals. Because if you only focus on that far away, big, scary goal that you can barely see because you feel so far from it, you're going to be holding yourself back. You're going to be holding yourself back from creating the path to get you there. Because you're so focused on how far you are from where you want to be, you can't see what's right in front of you, which is that one tiny step you can take today to get you closer. So on our last day, I will be sharing my strategy to reverse engineer your dreams through multiple streams. So we're going to be taking an awesome approach to creating that 2022 vision. I'm excited because you're going to really, really step into what lights you up. What are you excited to accomplish? And how are we going to get there? It's going to be a lot. So create a space that's going to support that. Okay. When you're going into day 3, I want you to look around your environment and see, is my space ready to take this on? And if not, maybe you need to clean up a little bit more, and that's okay. But you're going to step into your dreams this year, and I cannot wait to help support you through them. I will see you tomorrow. Until then, be sure to share your audits, kitchen audits, closet audits, whatever you decide to audit when you're auditing that environment and carving out space for abundance. Thanks, y'all. Yes. Okay. I am always all about auditing our life. I do this quarterly, so I actually am doing this with you all right now. I usually talk about working from the inside out when it comes to creating change, but when it comes to our environment, I do think there are a lot of benefits to looking around us first. It can be really hard to feel connected to our own thoughts when we're trying to identify what are those limiting beliefs coming up? What are those, words that I'm saying in my head, my inner mean girl? And so instead of trying to start with that more in-depth stuff, let's start with what are some things I can do around my current space? How can I clean it? How can I organize it in a way that feels really aligned with the life that I want to live? When I think about my highest self, how is she living? What does her space look like? Where is she working? Where is she working out? What does her fridge look like when she opens it? Are the clothes cluttered everywhere, or are they nice and organized? So if you are like me and sometimes you need a quick reboot and you need to refresh your space, now's the time to do it. So it can be very overwhelming to want to start with everything and do all the things at once. I want you to just set a timer. If you have 15 minutes right now or later on, create some time for the 15 minutes and just start with one area in your space that you want to clean up and organize. Go ahead and take a before picture and then take an after picture when you're done, and go ahead and tag us at JGoFitLife. I'm looking forward to seeing how these audits go for you as you record things going on throughout your day, as you clean up your space, and just really get excited about what the year has to bring you. I will see you guys for part 3. Thanks. Thanks again for listening to Confidently Uncomfortable. I love being able to connect with you here, and honestly, don't want it to end. So head over to my Facebook group, Body Confident Blueprint, and be sure to follow me on Insta at JGoFitLife. Also, if you're ready to get real confidently uncomfortable, go leave this podcast a 5-star review and email me the review screenshot, support@jgofit360.com, for a chance to win a free 30-minute fitness audit and goal setting session. I appreciate your support. See you next time.